Father, this morning we gather to worship you. Please help us to worship you with an undistracted heart. Forgive us from our me-first lifestyle and choose to put others first and seek you to use our spirits you have blessed us with to build others up when we are down. Guide us in our interactions so that others are blessed and you are glorified. Show us who to talk to, where to sit, and how to encourage others with your word. Please bless us in this day. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Well, a warm welcome to our fifth graders who are joining us today so they get a chance to see what a middle school chapel is like. I invite everybody here, please stand together and we're going to sing a couple songs. The first one is Lord I Need You.
Without you, I fall. Good morning, everybody, to our Step Up Chapel. We're excited to have you guys here. I just would love to share, first of all, welcome the fifth graders to this chapel. It's kind of exciting to see all your guys' faces down here. Next year you'll be here all the time, filling up those seats back there. So welcome to our chapel today. Just to let the fifth graders kind of have an idea what Step Up is, we're going to share a little bit about what that is. Before we get started, I'm just going to ask anybody that's involved in Step Up right now, fifth graders, you can turn around. If you're in Step Up, will you guys just quick stand? Thank you. All right, you guys can have a seat. All right, so we have a large number of students that are part of Step Up, and Step Up is a really special program in middle school that you guys will get a chance to be a part of. It's a program that makes an impact in our school, in our hallways. It makes an impact in relationships that we have with each other. And I'm not going to take Amelia's steam. She's going to share a little bit. She's an 8th grader this year, has been in Step Up all 3 years. And so she's going to share with you a little bit about it.
Hi everyone, my name is Amelia. I've been Step Up for about 2 years. And I joined Step Up because I saw that it was a good opportunity for me to lead others and to be like Christ. Step Up is a group of kids in middle school that want to make a difference in people's lives. As groups, we meet once or twice a month, discuss what we have noticed or watched, and talk about an influential video. Step Up also offers different committees. Some include helping out at Great Bear Day, or the Committee of Random Acts of Kindness. These committees are a great way to get out there and share your faith. In Step Up, there are so many different opportunities and so many good things that come out of being in Step Up. So as you come to school, don't just come to school because you have to. Come to school to show Jesus' love to everyone and to be a great leader.
Thank you. one of those things that you can be a part of, that you can come to school with a bigger purpose in mind. And is it something that we're perfect every day? Absolutely not. We are in a work in progress, but the cool part about stuff is we get to walk alongside and help lead and train you guys to be leaders and make a difference. And when there's different situations going on, how do you respond to that? So it's very much about your own relationship with Jesus and impacting those around you, making sure people are included and feel welcomed and cared for. And if people aren't, how do we make a difference in that? So just want to thank all of you guys that are a part of that and have been a part of it for the past few years. As far as 8th graders and the rest of you can continue to help out. It's awesome. So with that being said, we are going to move into a skit that gives you a little bit bigger perspective of what Step Up is about. And just to kind of, this is really important, this skit is something that needs to be really, really quiet. There's not going to be any talking, so we need the audience to be really, really quiet.
Testing. Is that one on?
Hello. A mom and daughter are driving to Sioux Falls Christian for the first day of school.
Gotta change this radio station here. Hold on. I like that song, Mom. It's rock. That is not Holy Spirit filled. It has to be like 96.5. Fine. Little bump there. Can you try to get out of the potholes, Mom? Okay, Sioux Falls roads aren't the best right now, honey. Squirrel! Whoa, stupid squirrel. Oh look, there's the church. Peace be with you, my brothers and sisters. Are you excited for school? Yeah.
They arrive at school as people are starting to arrive. As the daughter starts walking up to the doors, the mom sticks her head out the window and yells, "Honey, make good decisions!"
Oh my goodness, Mom, you're so embarrassing. I am in middle school and I am in Step Up too.
Testing. I'd like to welcome everyone else. Fifth graders, welcome. I just want to, first of all, say that I want to thank Mrs. Niemeyer because I might have a creative side, but maybe sometimes all these loose parts, this organization part, without her, this would have looked like a can of alphabet soup that kind of like spilled out all over the floor. Also, throughout this school year, Mrs. Niemeyer has kept Step Up going. And how about a hand for Mrs. Niemeyer? So I've entitled my chapel talk today, Click. And I was wondering, how often does Google searches happen? How often is there a click, a hit on Google? So guess what I did? I Googled it. Okay? Now, the site that I found said this, and I think it's even more. It said that Google gets clicked on 2 trillion times a year. Now, I can't wrap my head around 2 trillion. So I divided 2 trillion by 365. 365 days in a year. And it amazed me. If you take 2 trillion and you divide it by 365, I was expecting a lot smaller number. It's still 5.5 billion times a day. So the chapel today is about clicky. Now, in my generation, if you said that people were clicky, that's a bad thing. Clicky is like, I have a small group and nobody else can get into my small group and I'm going to keep other people away. That's bad. That's one of the things Step Up is going to be monitoring and keeping an eye on. We want everyone to feel friendly and welcome and part of our middle school. You guys, when it comes to clicking on mice and mouses and mices, and you click, 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 congratulations. You're the clickiest generation that has ever lived on this earth. Give yourself a hand. Now you do have a huge responsibility of what you click on. A very smart man once told me, life is a collection of choices. And that's why we did the first skit and especially the second skit. Because Amelia, as a mother, Libby says, her mom says this to her almost every day, make good choices. And I want to take that and I want to move it into what our theme for next year is going to be for Step Up. That is make not only good choices, make godly choices. So our theme for next year is make godly choices. Now I'm going to tell you a true story. This is a true story. My wife doesn't like to go to movies very much, but if it's a true story, I might be able to get her there. The main reason I go to movies is for the popcorn, but that's another story. So I lived and grew up in Pella, Iowa, and I was a city boy. Didn't know much about the farm, didn't know much about the country, and definitely didn't know much about gun safety. Well, my brother, Dan, had some friends. This is the truth. These were the country boys that lived in a little town, a little farm town by Pella, Iowa, named Lighton. Their names were, I am not joking, Richard, Willie, and Reggie. So this city boy was going to go to Lighton, Iowa and go hunting, and I didn't know much about hunting, but I was with Richard, Willie, and Reggie. So I was ready. We didn't have a gun, kind of. My dad had kind of talked about that. He had an old rusty shotgun that was given to him from his father. And so we all in the family kind of figured out that this gun is over 100 years old. And it was kind of rusty and it looked really bad, but it's the only gun we had, so we took it along. Over 100-year-old rusty shotgun, single shot, had no idea the last time it had ever been fired. Well, thankfully, we did know a little bit about gun safety. So my brother Dan, of course we had to share the gun, it's the only gun we had. So my brother Dan was walking with it pointed towards the ground. Thank the Lord. I was walking behind, so here I am, I'm walking, and there's Willie and Reggie and Richard, and they've got their nice shiny guns with, safeties and a shotgun shell in the chamber and 4 and whatever they do, and we had this little rusty old thing. Who knows what was going to happen? So, all of a sudden the dog points. You know what happens when the dog points, right? There's probably a pheasant there. So Reggie and Richard and, what was the other guy's name? Oh, good thing. They click off their shotgun safeties. And my brother Dan, since we had this old thing, all you could do was take the hammer and click it back. You clicked it, right? And then you waited to pull the trigger. Now, I'm going to interrupt my story a little bit here because I actually have that shotgun at home, but the principals, and they were right. They were right. Mr. Petgale, you were right. I should not take a shotgun into chapel. We don't want the 5th graders to go home and not sleep tonight and go, there was a gun in chapel today. So I thought, what's the next best thing? Well, I had to think about something that had a trigger. So I went into my garage and I found my trusty 2-speed 405 CFM, which I have no idea what all that means, leaf blower. I was born a problem solver. So we have to remember, here's my brother Dan with the shotgun towards the ground, which is a good thing. You either put it towards the sky or you put it towards the ground, right? Now let's think about it. This isn't a bad prop, right? We're hunting. Let's blow the pheasant away. Let's blow the tail feathers off that pheasant. Let's blow that bird to kingdom coming back. And let's blow that bird into a million pieces Now, that's another thing that I want to warn you about. We can get caught up in video games that get us caught up in violence. I went from just blowing a pheasant away, blow pheasant, blow, to smitherizing it into a million pieces of butts and guts. Okay? Guys, your generation, when we make godly choices where you're going to click or what you're going to watch, that's addictive. Boys probably more than girls. Be careful what video games you watch. Can I hear an amen? So back to the story. I'm walking behind Willie and Richard and good thinking. And my brother is sitting there with his gun down. Now remember, I'm 6'6", and I'm walking behind here, waiting for the gun, and I can see like the gun is just like this. My brother pulls the hammer back. Little did we know that there was a little piece broken inside that shotgun. So when he, true story, when he pulled the hammer back, thinking we're going to hear a click, so it's okay to take your thumb off the hammer and wait to pull the trigger, the gun, all of a sudden, he let go of the hammer and BAM! I'm 6'6", I'm behind this guy, my brother, and all of a sudden this old rusty shotgun shoots right out of his hands. And all I can see, first of all, that was in fast motion because I see the fire coming out of the gun, and then I see the gun coming at me, and all of a sudden my life passed before my eyes as a 100-year-old shotgun passed before my eyes. So again, I have named this chapel Click. The gun didn't click. It didn't pause. It didn't stop. It went straight from this to bang. Which made things pretty dangerous. I'm thankful that the BBs of the shell left the barrel before it got to my brother. I'm thankful that the BBs of the shell left the gun before the gun got to me. Right? So, click. There wasn't one. It was dangerous. It was harmful for everyone around. Now, the essence of Step Up, the essence of being a Christian in middle school is we need to develop within our mind a click, a pause. Like an old rusty gun, look at all of these black posters in the gym. If we're honest with ourselves, we all have ammunition. If we're honest with ourselves, we're all loaded with ammunition. Things we could say. Things we could send over social media. Facial expressions. Gossip. Violence. Immature behavior that never takes into account the feelings of others. Now, when we are being tempted to represent one of these black posters, we need to personally make godly choices. How do we do that? How do we develop the click in our mind? I have some ideas. We're working on it right now in chapel. Learning God's way. Learning how to live in God's world. We're developing our click so that doesn't happen. We're relying on the Holy Spirit to guide you. You know, the fruit of the Spirit is not just something to memorize, and the fruit of the Spirit is just not this cute little song. The fruit of the Spirit is actually that you believe in the Holy Spirit and He comes into your heart and you start to produce fruit of kindness and the other 8 things. We need to learn from other Christians. We're hoping that whoever signs up for Step Up is a Christian leader, and we need to learn from other Christians to make good decisions. I like the grandma theory when you're on the computer. When you're on the computer, you visualize grandma is behind you, seeing what you're seeing. Now, unless your grandma's a thug, that works. But I was here for Grandparents' Day and I met a lot of lovely, lovely grandmas, so I'm going to stick with my theory. So ask yourself, what would Jesus say in this situation? Ask yourself, what wouldn't Jesus say in this situation? Ask yourself, what would Jesus do in this situation? Now, Jesus gives us a great example. It clicked 3 times with him. He was in the wilderness for 40 days. He was starving, but he wasn't starving spiritually. He had just spent 40 days with God the Father. And so he said, when he was tempted, it clicked. He said, no, you do not live by bread alone, but by every word that cometh from the mouth of God. When Satan tried to tempt him again, it clicked. He said, no, you don't test God. And then he was tempted again, and it clicked. And he said, worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. And this is one time where I can use this word. Satan was trying to make Jesus sin one time, so none of us would be saved. And Jesus knew the criticalness of this situation, and he looked at Satan and he says, get behind me, Satan, because it clicked. I like to translate it into the VP translation. He said to Satan, go to hell, Satan. My challenge is for this year and for the rest of this year, and especially for next year, that we focus on making choices that please God. Our teaching staff, our step-up leaders will be doing our best to make godly choices and to monitor the life of the rest of the middle school to make godly choices. So this happens. So that doesn't happen. We need to stand for what's right. There is a famous statement that says, if you don't stand for anything, you will fall for everything. What do you stand for? Well, you stand for the truth. How do you know what the truth is? The Bible, right? So I'm just about done. Again, a very wise man once told me, your life is a collection of choices. Let's make godly ones, and let's help others around us make godly ones. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. VP. Just a couple of things. I know Mr. VP mentioned my name, but I want you to know that this does not happen with one person. It happens with an army of people really caring and loving. And I want to acknowledge a couple other teachers that have been a huge piece of Step Up helping. And Mr. Pettingale, if you can stand, this is Miss Malmer and Mrs. Hookman and VP. Thank you guys. With lunch groups, when you have a large group of kiddos wanting to make an impact, it takes an army. And the 8th graders have been really impactful this year too, and I want to say a big thank you to them because they stepped up and were leading groups. So it was an awesome year, so I just want to thank each of you guys, and those of you that are a part of it in general. You guys are making a big difference. The other thing just want to share, we're going to wrap up with these 3 individuals. These are 8th graders this year, and they're just going to share with you the impact that Step Up has made on them and their testimony. And then at the end, we're going to talk quickly about Kids Against Hunger. So we're going to go ahead and start. Rena.
Okay, so I'm going to be sharing my faith story and how it connects to Step Up. Mark 9:14 through 24. You may be wondering why this is a significant passage. These words are the foundation and the beginning of my personal relationship with God. To me, they are some of the most important Bible verses. When I was younger, I attended church and Sunday school like most people. I read the Bible, did devotion, and prayed, but my relationship with God was never really personal. One night, I was laying in my bed, reading my Bible, when I started to wonder, is God real? Is he dependable? Is he true? That is when my mom shared with me Mark 9:14 through 29. It says, when they came to the other disciples, they saw a large crowd around them, and the teachers of the law arguing with them. As soon as the people saw Jesus, they were overwhelmed with wonder and ran to greet him. What are you arguing about with them? He asked. A man in the crowd said, Teacher, I brought you my son, who is possessed by a spirit that has robbed him of speech. Whenever it seizes him, it throws him into the ground, he foams at the mouth, gnashes his teeth, and becomes rigid. I asked your disciples to drive out the spirit, but they could not. You unbelieving generation, Jesus replied, how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me. So they brought him. When the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the boy into a convulsion. He threw to the ground and rolled around, foaming at his mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, how long has he been like this? From childhood, he answered. It has often thrown him into fire or water to try and kill him. But if you can do anything, take pity on us. If you can, Jesus said, and everything is possible for the one who believes. Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe, help me with my unbelief. After reading this, it was the first time I understood that I could believe and have doubts at the same time. I started trusting in the fact that I do believe, and yet I don't have to understand everything at the same time. God would help me with the things that I didn't understand. It was the first time I really felt close to God. So you are probably wondering why this has anything to do with Step Up. In Step Up, you can share the things that you have learned about God in order to help others, like my mom did for me. I love that I have the opportunity to witness to others and be a light in the hallway. What I think is really unique about Step Up is the groups. Each member is placed in a small group with either 1 or 2 8th grade leaders. It's fun to get to know other people from younger and older grades and fellowship with them. You can share about all the things that are going on in your life and give advice and tips that you have learned or have experienced. Another reason why Step Up is awesome is because you can build new relationships with others that you might not normally talk to. Throughout my years in Step Up, I have made new relationships with people older and younger than me. That makes it so much more fun and exciting to come to school every day. In conclusion, I am glad that I have been a part of Step Up because it has taught me so much more about my faith in my life. I also loved making new relationships with the people and being able to fellowship with others. I have had a wonderful middle school experience for so many reasons, and Step Up was a big part of that.
Step Up has helped shape my middle school years. Step Up has helped me stay on track by choosing the right friends and doing the right thing when no one is looking. I also enjoyed the committee camps for the holidays because it allowed us to get out of our comfort zones and share God's love to those in need. Step Up is really nice because you can tell your thoughts about the middle school and what you have noticed that needs to change. This allows for your thoughts to be shared with the teachers so that something can be done about it. Step Up is a great way for God's love and light to shine through you and for others to see that love and light. You might think it takes too much time away from your gym time, but really it doesn't. It's only once or twice a month. That's only 1 or 2 days out of the about 22 times a month you go to play in the gym. Step Up is a great program that helps our middle school walk with Christ.
I'm Landon, and I want to tell you guys how Step Up has impacted me. So throughout the years of Step Up, I've grown leadership skills that I wouldn't have without Step Up. I've grown into communication abilities where I'm comfortable talking to people on a personal communication level. Not only have I developed skills through Step Up, I've had a lot of fun. From all the games to rewards to movies to making new friendships, Step Up has made these things a reality. It has helped me and many others throughout the terrifying journey of middle school. Step Up is a friendly environment that I encourage all of you to be a part of. It has helped me through the challenges and problems of middle school. If you are getting bullied, you can bring it to your Step Up group so you can talk about it and get the help you need. Even if you are having emotional problems, your group is there to talk you through the struggles. I know all of you love your gym time as well as I know all of you love your gym time, and don't worry about Step Up taking your gym time. We meet once every couple weeks, and these meetings are just as fun as the gym. Step Up will bring you closer to God just like it did for me. Step Up also isn't just for the perfect kids. Anyone can join, even if you know that you are having some struggles with your relationship with God. Step Up will help you through your struggles. Don't fight middle school alone. Step up and join a group to make your middle school journey enjoyable.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that. It takes a lot of courage, so way to go. So Mr. Pettingill here is going to share a little bit about Kids Against Hunger. And fifth graders, you might be like, this doesn't apply to me. But actually next year it will be a big piece of your world too, as fundraisers and doing service projects. So he's going to share a little bit about that.
Thank you. So today was supposed to be the day where we were going to see Mr. Van Solon have smoothie, silky legs, okay? It would have possibly been the day where we would have seen Mrs. Engel, which if you look at her up there with that blonde hair, that would have had a little bit of a pink dye, okay? And then myself, you would have been able to hear me sing Let It Go or A Whole New World or something, okay? We didn't quite meet our mark. We're actually only about halfway there. And so I understand that, you know, it gets money and it gets expensive and whatnot. But I just want to kind of explain to you as how the Kids Against Hunger thing works. Kids Against Hunger orders food for us to be able to supply based on the money that we give them. So if we give them $200, which we have more than, but if we give them $200, they can only buy $200 worth, and it would take us about, as a middle school, about 10 minutes to get through that. And so that's why we've set the goal that we want to try to hit that $1,500 mark. And in order to do the incentives, we were going to set it at $1,000. So we are right now a little over $500 short of the $1,000 mark. So I'm going to extend it to tomorrow morning, tomorrow after school, and then Friday morning. If we hit that, we will find a time to celebrate whatever those teachers get voted in to do. And I want you to think about this. If every student in our middle school dug throughout their parents' car with their parents' permission, okay, or dug throughout their drawers and found a couple quarters, found a couple nickels, got to the point where you could have almost $3. If every student in our middle school did that, we would hit that mark, okay? I've actually already called Mini Critters, and they've said that if Mr. Keepers wins, they will bring a snake or something like that here, okay? So we have that stuff set in place. Mrs. Nienhuis would like to do that as well. But we have that all set in place. We just need to hit our mark. Okay, so tomorrow morning, tomorrow after school, Friday morning, okay, if we hit the mark, we will complete those tasks for the top 3 vote getters. There will be a video for Kids Against Hunger that we will send out to your second period teachers. And we just ask that second period teachers, if you guys can show them tomorrow morning at the beginning of the day when you're doing your lunch count, and it's just about a minute video, and we'll be good to go. I'm going to close this in prayer, but I just want to thank again everybody who's been a part of this. I want to thank 5th grade for being here. Mr. Vanderpaul, you did an excellent job. You preach it all the time. Thank you for that. 5th grade, we look forward to you joining us next year and hanging out with us. We like to have a little bit of fun down here, but I'm going to close this in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you that we have the opportunity to come to you with our 5th grade, through our middle school, Lord, and just to be able to talk about you, talk about temptations, talk about struggles that we have in our lives, Lord. We thank you for the people that are willing to take the extra step, just to do what's right, Lord. We just thank you for Mr. Vanderpool and the words that you've given him this morning, Lord. We thank you for the rest of the Step Up staff. We thank you for Mrs. Niemeyer and the time she puts in, Lord. We just thank you for just Sioux Falls Christian and the desire for us to make right choices, Lord. And I just pray that you give us those strengths when we get put in difficult times, just to make great decisions, Lord, and decisions that are glorifying to you, Lord. And we just pray that you be with us throughout the rest of this day, throughout the rest of this week, Lord, into the summer, God, that we may be put in times where things may be in front of us that aren't healthy or aren't good for us, Lord. And I just pray that you help us to overcome those things and just to make great decisions, Lord. We just thank you for this day. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.